She's one of our 365 prayer advocates on Fridays, and she's going to share about a save that we had this last year. So,
again, my name is Laurie Pujado, and I have it's such an honor and blessing to get to come out here, and I am under the wings of Wendy every Friday and Elizabeth. And we, I believe it was June, had just a beautiful experience here with the facility being over there at 4840. We stand on the sidewalk over here by the fire hydrant, and a young woman by the name of Rachel had left the facility and actually was coming out over to where we were standing in her car. And as Wendy is just amazing, she goes right over to them and just has this beautiful aura of just love. And so she had invited Rachel to roll her window down, and I came with them as well and noticed that Rachel had a really, really flat tire. And so, like, dangerously flat. And so that was kind of a good way for us to be able to approach her. And we had both just said, I'm not sure if you're aware, but your tire is dangerously flat and you're not going to be able to go anywhere with that safely. And she was just in tears and so upset just with life situation. So Wendy had convinced her to pull over, and so we were able to just kind of sit and talk with her. And the one thing, as we looked into her eyes that we saw was she just did not feel loved. She was really struggling with life, and she was in a really dark place. And so as she was talking with us, we were able, through 40 Days for Lent, to really offer her some resources and some help. And so 40 Days for Lent is not just the talk. They actually have the resources. They do the help. They are the hands and feet. And so it was just an honor to get to see her reaction to just feeling loved. She was not able to have an abortion. So her story was that she had just given birth to a child and found herself 5 weeks later pregnant again. She had a young toddler and she had this baby, and they were strapped. Her boyfriend of 14 years fathered the 2 children. She did not want an abortion. That was the last thing she wanted, but they were so strapped. He had heart conditions, so he could not work. He was the child care person, and she worked at Cracker Barrel, and she was doing her best to try and provide for her family. And this pregnancy just put her overboard. And, she went to an urgent care thinking she had the flu and found out she was pregnant. And so she set up an appointment really out of fear and the darkness, and she knew that it wasn't something she wanted, but she felt like it was something that she was being forced into, not necessarily by her boyfriend, but by just life situation. And so Wendy invited me to just take her car first and go get some air in the tire. She agreed to that, and we went over and just got to sit down and just talk while we were inflating her tire. 40 Days for Life also allowed us to be able to have that opportunity to take her to a tire place and get her tire looked at to see if there was something that we could do to help her. And so that also gave us time to just kind of sit back and have conversation. And so when we went there, we found that all of her tires were dangerously, they were just worn. And she was somebody who was traveling a lot. They had no money. She's like, I have nothing on me. I have no money on me. And so we were able, through 40 Days for Life, to get her 4 new tires on her car. And she, praise God, she was so excited. And so we went out to lunch, and she was able to just really receive God's love. in such a way that she had not received before. And she just kept on crying, saying, I didn't want this. I never wanted this. And she was, unable to have the abortion because she was so far along. She was anticipated that, her abortion would cost around $400. When she came here, they really did not treat her with much compassion at all, and basically sent her out the door because her abortion would have been about $1,400. And she could not afford that, and they could not afford to fund that for her. And so they really just sent her out the door bawling, and she had no idea what to do. So praise God that Elizabeth and Wendy and I were here to be able to talk with her, to help her out. And she was able to have her baby in October, and a healthy little boy. And so, life has changed very drastically for her. She was very excited throughout her pregnancy. She did decide, her and her boyfriend moved to California because her parents lived there. And she really wanted to have a better life. And her parents were very, very supportive of her third child. And so she moved in, I would say it was probably August. They moved out, and it was something, she was very scared. She had a difficult time meeting friends because she spent almost all of her time just working, and with her children and boyfriend. And so we kind of kept up with each other over the months. And in September, unfortunately, her boyfriend passed away from a heart attack. And so that left her also in a really big spin of life. That was not something that she saw coming, nor desired. And so, praise God, she was out with her parents. And so they were very supportive. She gave birth to her son October and had to do that without him being by her side. And then in November and December, celebrated all of their birthdays, his birthday, the children's birthday, her birthday, all again while she was grieving the loss of her dear boyfriend. And so when I talked to her last week, she's just so grateful for 40 days and just the friendships, and knowing, I told her all of us would continue to pray for her and her children. She's a fighter. I mean, she's a fighter. She is out there and she's making it work. And she has her 3 beautiful children to look at. She is very, very simple. She lives in the house and has since she's moved out there. Her bedroom is not a bedroom. She lives in a living room. And her 2 boys, the 2 babies, one's now a 4-month-old and a 10-month-old. And so, she's making do, and she's happy because she's got the love and support, as she knows that we are here. She's hoping this summer to be able to come back and go out to lunch, and and just that one day in her life made a huge difference. So just to know that God does have hands and feet through all of us that come here and are on the sidewalks for them. She felt it, and she is a witness and an inspiration to me personally, to keep fighting and knowing that somehow God will make good out of all situations. So please continue to pray for her, and know that she is very appreciative for every person. Thank you so much.
Wow, what a story.